During the show, type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
A very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond Chizito. On Spectrum tonight, from Kyankwanzi to the commemoration of the NRM Victory Day, how significant are the two events to Ugandans? On Thursday, the NRM will commemorate the annual Liberation Day in honor of those who staked their lives and properties in support of the 1986 Liberation War, and also reflect upon the challenges today and the achievements registered so far. The commemoration will be held up country following a decision that the liberation must be felt by all Ugandans across the different regions. The opposition in Uganda has already asked Ugandans not to jubilate, but to use this day to mourn and hold accountable the NRM government for different reasons, although the government maintains that Ugandans must celebrate given the tremendous strides they have made. This commemoration comes at a time when Uganda is experiencing challenges from socio-political to economic, a development that has prompted a recent NRM retreat at Kyankwanzi. The Kyankwanzi retreat made key resolutions to address the challenges noted, although skeptics are still insisting that the NRM leadership has lost the zeal to transform the country or even tackle the smallest challenges. The opposition believes that in order to address the challenges Uganda faces today, there is need for a regime change, but the NRM government has maintained that there is need to consolidate the NRM leadership and adequately position resources towards transformation. So tonight we ask, how significant are the resolutions from the Kyankwanzi retreat and the upcoming NRM Liberation Day celebrations to Uganda? Our guests tonight, Honorable David Bahati, Vice Chairman of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus. You're most welcome, Honorable Bahati.
Thank you.
We expect to be joined by Mrs. Alice Muwanguzi, Resident Council Commissioner for Kampala. We expect her to join us shortly. We are right now joined by Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, President of the Justice Forum Party, also known as JEEMA. You're most welcome, Mr. Basalirwa.
Thank you.
Honorable Bahati, can you bring us up to scratch on preparations for the the NRM Liberation Day, 26 years? Well, we've just been joined by Mrs. Alice Muwanguzi, Resident Council Commissioner for Kampala. You're most welcome, Mrs. Muwanguzi.
Thank you. Good evening.
I don't know if that's the correct title for you. They change so fast sometimes.
Resident City Commissioner.
Resident City Commissioner. That makes my blood flow better. Would you like to bring us up to scratch, Madam, about the preparations for the NRM Day?
Good evening, listeners. The preparations are really underway, and Kapchorwa is the venue, the national venue, and all roads are leading to Kapchorwa. We have already some guests who have come to join us at the celebrations, and I think it is tomorrow that Kapchorwa is going to be very warm when all the guests arrive at the venue, the national venue, Kapchorwa. So now it is the time for informing people that the 26th anniversary of NRM Victory Day, the celebrations are on in Kapchorwa under the theme Uganda, the land of opportunities. The contribution, NRM's contribution in the last half of the 50 years of independence. Because as you are aware, we got independence in 1962, and the first 24 years we had, I think, 9 presidents. But since the NRM came into power in 1986, we have had consistency in leadership. So that is why the theme is NRM's contribution in the last half of the 50 years of our independence. So we are set.
Do you have foreign guests coming?
Yes, we do.
Who are they?
We have got the president of Rwanda.
He's coming,
yes.
Going to capture Rwanda.
Yes, yes.
He's gone.
And president of the Republic of Kenya is already here, and I'm sure you have heard.
He's going to stay throughout.
And you know that today he received a doctorate award from Makerere University. Yes.
So 2 heads of state will be here.
They will be here. Yes.
Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, where is your card for this party in Kapchorwa? Why are you keeping it?
You should have asked a senior colleague about the invitations. But, well, I think that shows that increasingly this NRM Day is really losing meaning in this new political dispensation we have of multi-party. I was talking to Dr. Besige. I was actually inquiring whether he had received an invitation card for this function, and he told me to the best of his knowledge no card had been sent. I was at the JEEMA headquarters today. There is no card. So I think the occasion has really become very partisan. It is no longer a national occasion. It is no longer a national celebration. And I think the earlier it was scraped from the list of public holidays, really, the better. I just hope that the President exercises his authority under the Public Holidays Act to really scrape this. If he doesn't, then parliamentarians, my senior colleague Honorable Bahati is here, should really pass a resolution. I don't think it's really necessary in this new multi-party dispensation that we should be celebrating NRM Day. And when you look at the theme, it's also ironical because you see, when we are talking about celebrating NRM, what NRM are we talking about? There is the NRM where we all belonged, where Besige was NPC.
In the past.
Yes, where Sebana Chizito was a minister, where Semogele was a minister. And then there is the NRM, the party. Okay? So what NRM are we really talking about? Are we talking about NRM, the party, or NRM where we all belonged? I think it's important for us to make a dichotomy. Otherwise, we risk misleading the public when you talk about 26 years. Can they really be very fair and honest and separate the years where we were all in the NRM, willingly and unwillingly, then the NRM, which has been a political party?
Right.
My own view and thinking is that this is not a function which should really be where we should be spending taxpayers' money for celebration, given the current economic crisis, the situation in the country. If really they are bent on celebrating it, my view would be that it should be a low-key ceremony. The President should just invite a few people in State House for a dinner. He makes a speech, okay, and outlines his contribution, his vision, and then we move forward. I don't think it's really necessary for us to move to Kapchorwa. The amount of money that is going to be spent is enormous in the current dispensation. So in the multi-party dispensation, it is no longer meaningful to celebrate NRM Day at all.
Or maybe they should simply change the guest list, include some of you as well, since you checked and your card wasn't there, even though you are waiting, twiddling your thumbs perhaps.
Well, whether I am invited or not, I have given you my position. This is not really a day worth celebrating, especially in this current multi-party dispensation, because over time it has really become a partisan function.
All right.
And it does not.
It's its merit.
Yes, it doesn't rhyme well with the new multi-party dispensation, in my honest view.
Honorable Bahati, we left the old NRM, we are in the new NRM, you're still celebrating all things. Why do you do those things?
Well, thank you. First of all, I think we've extended invitation to many dignitaries in this country, and I know JEEMA, if you check in your post office, you should be able to find an invitation there, if there is a post office address for you. But I think what's important to note is that NRM has been changing over time. It started as FRONASA, it went into PRA, Popular Resistance Army, it changed to National Resistance Army, and 2005 the people of Uganda decided that we needed multi-party politics in our country, and also those people who were uncomfortable in the movement, the old movement, decided to go to their parties. So the NRM today is the same NRM that has changed over time. So it's not, that distinction must be
Well,
must
but there was
be
the
made.
NRM, the all-embracing.
It was all embracing, and people said no. Some people said no, we cannot continue with this movement, and they decided. They said, well, we need parties in place so that we can be free to belong where we want.
Okay.
And those who never believed in NRM formed their own parties like JEEMA and all this. So it is still the NRM that has been changing. But the importance of the day is very, very, very crucial to reflect on. To reflect, we will be taking stock of the achievement that we have made over the last 25 years in the history of our
26
country.
right now.
26 years. In terms of peace and stability, in terms of democracy, people have been going to the polls every 5 years. In terms of macroeconomic stability, notwithstanding the turbulence that we are experiencing now in the economy. In terms of education, to liberate the minds of our people now, the 5 million, over 5 million young Ugandans who could not access education can now go to school. And recently, as you know, we will be starting the loan scheme at Makerere University and other universities. In terms of professionalizing the army, there are times when the army of Uganda was a monster. People would look at a soldier and run away. But now the army is a friendly army force defending our country. So there are quite a number of achievements that will be stock taking, and I think it's a time for us to reflect on where we are. Of course, we still have challenges, but I think we have achieved a lot for this country, and it's worth celebrating the achievements.
What are some of those challenges?
The challenges that we are having now, we have done a lot in terms of macroeconomic stability, but we need to do a lot in terms of microeconomic stability. We need every household to improve their household income. The 67% of Ugandans who live on subsistence must get out of this bracket and start enjoying the fruits of their country. And that's what we are focusing on now. We need to do more in terms of improving the quality of education. That's what we are focused on. And I think in the next 4 years we will be making some great strides in this.
Listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight from Kyankwanzi to the commemoration of the NRM Victory Day. How significant are these two events to Ugandans? Our guests tonight, Honorable David Bahati, Vice Chairman of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, Mrs. Alice Muwanguzi, Resident City Commissioner-Kampala, and Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, President of the Justice Forum Party. You'll be able to contribute to this discussion at some stage. You've just come from Kyankwanzi, Honorable Bahati. As you left, you said you'll get back with solutions. What are some of the solutions you came up? You spent 2 weeks in that place. What are some of the solutions that you came up with?
Well, we converged in Kyankwanzi in a 10-day retreat as members of the NRM under the theme to deepen our ideological cautiousness for better service delivery. We wanted to raise the levels of understanding, levels of ideological understanding by our members, to make sure that our members do appreciate the dynamics of the global economy and their impact on our economy. And the 10 days we were able once again, as you know, the party, the NRM party, is like any other living organization, any other learning and living organization. We need to refresh ourselves, we need to refocus every other time, and I think it was a time of refocusing, a time of refreshing on the core principles of the party, to try and define who we are and what we stand for. And these are the 4 core principles of our party. Nationalism. When it comes to the interests of the country, all of us must rally behind each other to make sure that we defend our country. Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. And these principles were, we tried to make sure that all our members appreciate the core values of our party. But also we took off time to discuss the current challenges of the economy, especially the increasing interest rates. And all of us are in agreement that the Bank of Uganda is doing a fantastic job in terms of monetary policy, but there is need to do some work in terms of fiscal policy. We must check our expenditure as government, but the central bank is doing well. But also we pose the question to the central bank, how about these people who have fixed contracts, fixed income, and the banks are changing the interest rates over these loans, the salary loans. What's going to happen to them? And the Bank of Uganda is going to review this, which is good news. There are quite a number of resolutions that were made, ranging from the economy, education, and to communications of the party. So there are quite a number of things that we came up with, which I will be going through in a few minutes.
All right. We'd like to hear a little bit more about those issues and how you managed to come up with a succession plan for your party, who you agreed should replace President Museveni, and when that is likely to happen. But before we do that, Madam Muwanguzi, can you take us through some of the core achievements? Many people, I sat down here some time back with a lecturer who was born in the NRM government. Some of us were born before that, and it confirmed to me that the government has already stayed in power a long time. What's the justification for this continuation?
Yeah, thank you. Now you are saying that the NRM organization has stayed in power for a long
It's a long time. A young man here is a lecturer at Makerere. He's 24 years old, and you came to power 26 years ago.
Okay. Now, when you say that the NRM has stayed in power for a long time, that shows that the people love NRM. Now, the NRM organization, now it is a party, but NRM as a revolutionary movement which started as a bush war in the bush, started as a mass organization. It was really supported by people, and if you look at all the policies and programs, they are from the people. It is a pro-people organization, a mass organization. That is why even Mr. Basalirwa was saying that at the beginning all the people belonged to it. It is because all the people of Uganda belonged to it. It is because by the time NRM came into power, the people in Uganda had lost hope. We had gone to such a level that we needed somebody to liberate us. It's as if all the sectors had fallen sick and they really needed a doctor. So when NRM came into power, it was like Uganda had received a liberator. So we started from there, laying a foundation afresh for Uganda, and everybody welcomed it, as it were, really. So all the parties which had been there before, like UPC, DP, they all came together and moved as one movement. And when you look at the contribution of NRM, we have to look back and see where NRM found Uganda and where Uganda is now. I would like, first of all, to talk about what Mr. Basalirwa was saying, that it is not worth celebrating because now NRM is a party. Now NRM has become partisan. They should even scrap this one from the public holidays. I would like to appreciate that time on the 26th of January, when the NRA stepped into Kampala, everybody was relieved. Really, we should take it from that point that all the Ugandans across the board were happy at that time.
Yes.
And that is what we are celebrating. It was a new beginning. When the president...
What happened even in 1971? They danced in the streets. They kept doing that.
When the president made his maiden speech, he said, this is not a mere change of guards. It is a fundamental change. And we who had been alive before, who had seen things before, knew, and we actually know, that what was introduced by NRM is a fundamental change. The first and foremost, it is the peace and stability that we have enjoyed, because now we can plan. You can know that there is tomorrow. You can invest.
You can even sleep.
You can sleep knowing that if death does not take you during your sleep,
you'll wake up alive.
You'll wake up and you have got even a plan, happy. And you have got a plan for tomorrow. And some of the achievements that NRM has had is, let me now talk about myself, affirmative action.
Yes.
Because when you look at the people participating now, we all participate. The women, the youth, people with disabilities, the workers, they are all on board. And Between 1962 and 1986, we had only 2 elections. So real democracy at that time was also a sham, because from 1967 we were supposed to have another election and it didn't happen. When we were supposed to, maybe we could have had another one, there was a coup. You know, there was all the turbulence, all the political turbulence. But in terms of democracy, really the NRM has done very well.
All right.
And especially in the greatest contribution is the introduction of constitutionalism and the rule of law.
Constitutionalism and the rule of law. Later I would like you, Madam Muwanguzi, to talk to us about the future of the NRM, as you said. But before we do that, Mr. Basalirwa, the NRM ended the inflation of political leaders. 9 men in 25 years, now 1 man in 26 years. That cannot be a bad thing, or is it?
Well, I don't know how you are going to measure it, because the stay has also been contested, either through election or the initial. 2000, right from 1996, NRM and President Museveni have had a contested election. Contested in form that there has not been any consensus about the victory.
In 1996, Semogere got 21%.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. And
they thought Museveni had stolen.
Yes.
78 gone.
Yes, since then, by the way, and even as we talk now, in fact, currently, those who contested in the election, with the exception of Honorable Betty Kamia, rejected the outcome of the results, and that has been the trend. So we have not arrived or reached a consensus where an election is going to produce a winner who is acceptable. And so is the previous years. You know, the NRM, right from 1986, legal notice number 1 of 1986,
yes,
intended to lock out other players. So political competition was
suspended
not
for
there.
a short while.
It was not a short while. 1986 to 1995 was, or actually 2005 is not a short while. Even as we talk now, association freedoms are not fully enjoyed in this country. I've just been at a rally where there's tear gas. Okay. Yes. So you are talking about political machinations being put in place by the current regime to entrench itself in power.
All right.
So the rules of the game have not been fair.
All right.
President Museveni is on top. That it's debated if a free and fair election can really leave President Museveni at the top. You look in April, immediately after the election,
yes,
what happened?
He had walked work.
And the amount of support it received.
All right.
Look at the new initiative of FOC Reloaded.
Yes.
I was in Chireka. It was unbelievable.
All right.
The amount of support. And when you go to these rallies, you ask people, how many of you will stand up and say no change now? Nobody will put up their hands.
We have to
so
go
that speaks volumes about this so-called victory we are talking about.
This is Spectrum on Radio, and we're going for a break. We'll be back. Just stay tuned.
John, Mike and I, we go back a bit. We knew John at the beginning, working for someone else. But he was different. He had vision, saw opportunities. He started working towards his goal, opened his own garage, and worked, learning the hard way. His reputation spread. Trust, consistency, quality. Soon people were coming to him from all parts. He made himself and his whole street prosper, and also helped friends, seeing potential in people and helping them on. But John never shouts about all his success. He's just who he is. Special.
So here's to men like John, who make a difference, who enjoy Nile Special, the rich, satisfying taste from the source. Nile Special.
You've earned it. Not for sale to persons under 18.
Do you know that by consuming Ugandan-made quality products, we create more jobs and encourage further investments? That's why Private Sector Foundation Uganda, together with Uganda Manufacturers Association, has organized a grand back-to-school exhibition to showcase Ugandan-made products. The back-to-school exhibition will take place from the 26th to the 29th of January 2012 at Uma Showgrounds, Lugogo. Are you a parent, guardian, head teacher, trader? Don't miss to buy Ugandan-made quality products for your children and students as they they go back to school. All products will be at wholesale price. Entrance is free for all with lots of local entertainment. For details, call 755-291-035 or come to PSFU offices on Plot 43, Nakasero Road.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90 is brought to you by Stanbic Bank.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. From Kyankwanzi to the commemoration of the NRM Victory Day, how significant are the two events to Ugandans? Our guests tonight, Honorable David Bahati, Vice Chairman of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, Mrs. Alice Muwanguzi, Resident City Commissioner-Kampala, and Mr. Asuman Basalirwa, President of the Justice Forum Party, also known as JEEMA. You'll be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Madam Muwanguzi, can you talk to us about what you see as the future of the NRM? 25 years gone, you have another 4 years left. What's going to happen after?
Not only 4, even more than that.
Go on.
Because I know that NRM still enjoys the support of the people. It is just a matter of keeping our people together, and even others are joining in. The others will also join us. That is what a multi-party political system is all about. You have to keep fishing, people to come and join. I can see that we still have the support of the people. These crowds of walk to work and whatever it is, demonstrations notwithstanding, we still have the support of the people. When the people don't come out to shout, and don't think that they don't support, but they still support, because the constitution is very clear that power belongs to the people.
Yes.
The people will still vote in the NRM. I can see the future because of the plans and programs that are in place. Really, NRM has got accountability because of the achievements of NRM so far. I'm sure that all the people who are serious will see it and say, yes, NRM can still lead. I can see that NRM still has a future.
Well, interesting. As we talk about the future of the NRM, Honorable David Bahati, would you like to unveil to us here exclusively on Spectrum who the successor to President Museveni? What did you agree when you sat in Kyankwanzi, roasting beef among other things?
Well, to that question, I think it's a question that was sorted out by our constitution. The constitution of the party is very clear on how we pick the next presidential candidate. The constitution, the national constitution, equally is clear on how the president of the country will be elected. So that was never part of our agenda. What was on our agenda, as I said, is to deepen our ideological understanding for better service delivery.
Yeah, I mean, we've had those platitudes. Let me cut you short. We've had those platitudes, the broad statements, and socialists, some of them capitalists. But let's talk about the cohesiveness of the party. Former Prime Minister Chintu Musoke said half of the cabinet is corrupt, sack it. And President Museveni says, no, they still have my confidence. You have a lot of rifts within your party. How are you going to deal with that? It's going to be torn apart soon.
Well, on the issue of corruption, I think we made a resolution that's important, particularly on the two ministers who are named now, Honorable Makubuya and Honorable Saida Bumba. We are waiting for the PAC report. PAC is doing its work, and as soon as the PAC report comes out, we will be able to call a caucus, debate this issue, and make a decision. Yes, it is true. We have so far close to 8 ministers being investigated or accused of some allegation of some sort.
35 with UBC must.
Well, those are the issues.
Some
but I think
it's
important to note that in the history of this country, the institutions that were not there, which have been brought by the movement. The IG was not there. We had the weak police, which wasn't there. The Auditor General, we have put in place the National Audit Act, we have put in place the Anti-Corruption Act, the Whistleblowers Act. We are building institutions to fight corruption. And at the same time, it's the responsibility of every Ugandan, whoever you are, to fight corruption.
Well, but the president is not helping. He's not fired his cabinet. 35 ministers implicated. How do you run a cabinet like that?
Well, I'm not sure about the 35. I know about the 8, and their cases are being handled. The 2 ministers in the oil, the report is being, rather the issue is being investigated by the ad hoc committee of Parliament.
But one minister resigned because she was caught with the UBC mask. The others don't want to go.
Yeah, as you know, it was out of the decision taken in the caucus. We debated this matter and made a decision in the caucus. So the most important thing is to say that the NRM is committed to fighting corruption. That's very, very, very important. But we want to do it in a fair way that will be fair to the people who are choosing it, fair to the system, and in the interest of Ugandans.
Mr. Asuman, assuming for argument's sake that you were an NRM right now and you had the power, what would you do to that party? You are inside there. What would you do?
I don't get the question, but I wanted to.
You've never dreamed of being an NRM? Go on.
I have never been there. I remember in 2000 when I was given president at Makerere, I met the president, and he was talking to me in that line. And that time I was young, about 21 years, and I was very open to him that no, I have never believed in this thing called NRM, even at that tender age. But my senior colleague Bahati is talking about corruption. I have you invited me here sometime to talk about corruption, and I'm going just to re-echo what I have said before.
Yes, please do.
Number one, corruption is not fought by laws or institutions. In fact, Uganda has some of the best laws and institutions on corruption. The major weapon for fighting corruption is political will. So you'll have everything, you'll have all the laws, you'll have all the institutions, but if you don't have the political will, corruption will still be with us. Countries that have fought corruption, whose corruption index is very low across the world, are not using laws, they are not using institutions. Their leaders are exemplary. The leadership demonstrates political will to fight the corruption. So whatever resolutions will be made, whatever acts will be enacted without the political will, and it goes really to the president, how he behaves when ministers are indicted, actions he takes on those who are corrupt, speaks volumes. And I've told you here before that if corruption and Uganda were in a ring,
yes,
one in the blue corner, another on the red corner,
yes,
the corruption has won. And after 26 years, I will tell you, my brother, there is nothing much the NRM can add on the fight against corruption. It is a war they have lost. Let them talk about other things. And unfortunately, corruption is not a guerrilla war that you bring weapons or guns to shoot at. No. So I think Ugandans should come to appreciate that NRM on matters of corruption has completely failed. And I'm telling you, we are in a country where our second name is corruption. Every day in a national newspaper, you'll get a very big corruption scandal involving a very high-profile person in this country. So for me, I think that is something they should really stop talking about. I think they should just come out and apologize to Ugandans. And you know, it is also civility to come and appreciate that on this aspect we are defeated. It is civility. And Ugandans are forgiving people, they will forgive them.
And then what?
No, and then we see the way forward. Okay? So that one ceases to be an issue where we'll be coming over or where they'll be retreating upon. Right. How can a caucus sit to discuss a criminal matter? Because criminal liability is personal. Yes, criminal liability is personal. You cannot begin discussing criminality, because when a person steals, he does not steal because he's an NRM. This part has some very good people, and Bahati is one of them.
Yes.
Okay, but he cannot sit in a meeting
and
where
he's not yet a minister.
He's not yet a minister. But you see, when you want to know how a person behaves, if you were to follow his record right from school, you realize that perhaps right from school he has been exhibiting himself in a very exemplary manner. Right. These people are stealing today. It's not that they have just learned stealing. You trace their records.
They used to do mangoes on the way.
I am telling you, trace their records. There are character traits that follow a person, and this is what is happening. So I think with corruption, there is nothing much we are going to do about it.
Madam Muwanguzi, do you think President Museveni should retire? 26 years at the helm. Is that something you would tell him if you met him in a room?
No, that is not something I would tell him.
Why? 26 years. You should hand over to somebody else.
That is not something I would tell him, because it is the choice of the people. If the people still want him, why should he retire? And he still has the wisdom, he still has the energy. And if the party, because according to the multi-party political system, there must be a national conference where people present themselves and the people choose their presidential candidates.
Some people think it's stage managed. You present weak candidates, not the ones who can defeat him.
No, it's not true. It's not true. I know that when he presents his candidature and others also present their candidature, they withdraw.
Honorable Bahati, why do people keep talking about succession? Of course, we know you have system. That means they don't trust the system. They say the man has the power to choose. When he chooses, nobody else will say anything.
Well, that's to talk about the future of a party and the future of the country is normal. It's encouraged. But I think what we normally say, we have systems in place to solve that issue, and it has been actually solved by the constitutions we put in place.
But when you are at the caucus meeting in Kyankwanzi, we saw some photographs.
But I wanted first to respond to his point that allegations of corruption should not be debated in the caucus. A party is a family.
Yes.
If somebody is engaged in things that you think are going to affect the image of your family, there is no harm in sitting the person as a family and talk about the issue.
Yes.
So the same thing applies to these allegations. When they happen to our friends, our colleagues, it's normal and I think it's advisable to sit and we talk about them. We are working on a system, a mechanism where we'll have a committee in place that will be looking at these issues and to say that look at these cases, if there are merits in these cases, should be able to advise people to step aside before even we go further. So it's important to note that having institutions in place, having the right laws in place is part of that political will to fight corruption that people are talking about. How else will you fight corruption if you don't have a police that will investigate? If you don't have the AG that will do the audits, how else will you? Most of these cases, look at the cases of Basalirwa, the cases of Makubuya, all these cases are brought about by institutions that we put in place. So how else would you want the political will to work?
It has got to work. How effective are they? They catch the small fries.
I don't think the ministers...
The big ones get fried a little bit.
I don't think the ministers who are being investigated are small fries. I think they are part of cabinet and the highest decision-making body in the country. But also I wanted to go back to the retreat. Well, it's important that people of Uganda know what the members of the NRM discussed in Kyankwanzi. And I think we need to reflect on a number of them. As we said before, we are facing challenges in the economy. And the members of the NRM Caucus resolved that we need to invest more in the reproductive areas, especially in agriculture. As you know, 2 months ago, we resolved that beginning with the next financial year, we should increase the budget of agriculture from 4% to 7% of our GDP. This is very, very important. So we are going to be investing 160 billion support initiatives that market scientific initiatives, the cars that have been invented, the banana projects, 160 million to go in that. And also, as I said, we are looking at making sure that the Bank of Uganda works out a mechanism where commercial banks stop varying interest rate to begin with the salary loans. In terms of education, the student loan scheme is going to start next financial year. That was the resolution.
Well, students borrow money to pay tuition.
Yes, as you know,
they pay when they get jobs.
As you know, the NRM has been able to put in place the UPE, the USE, which has helped over 8 million Ugandans, young Ugandans, who could not access university, rather education. Now we are putting in place this to banish the demons of school fees that has been haunting our parents across the country.
All right, let's hear from our listeners. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. Our numbers tonight: 0414-348-111, 0312-260-390, 0312-261-390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you are calling from. Spectrum, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Edmond.
Hello, we can hardly hear you, please.
Sir.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. Your name?
I'm AM. Thank you for hosting the Honorable MP plus the President of JEEMA and Madam RCC. My question goes to Madam RCC. We all salute the NRM for having led us 26 years, but my issue is about the low cadres. You are not facilitating them. Look at the occasions, like on 26, you don't serve them people good meal, don't serve them choma as you did once.
Okay, I'm sure the budget is going to be tweaked there, so there's more roast meat and transport. Spectrum, hello. Hello, your name? Hello? You're live on Spectrum, your name? Okay, you called us and then you changed to something else probably. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, your name?
Hello?
Yes, please tell us your name.
Hello?
Hello, you're live on Spectrum.
Yes, Edmond, Jack here. Good evening.
Good evening, Jack.
Yeah, thank you very much for the guests in the studio. My observation is that I think the central bank can do a little more to maintain the interest rates at the lower rate. If you look at Article 161 of the Constitution, where there's some provisions on financial institutions tax, I think it has a mandate where even individuals have entered into private contracts with commercial banks. The central bank has a say on those interest rates. Thank you.
All right, Spectrum, hello. Hello. Okay, let's get back to the studio. Oh, we have another caller. Your name, sir? Your name? Your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
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 Hello, you're live on air.
Yes, Edmond, how are you? Henry.
Henry.
I just have a comment. Bahati talks about, Bahati talks about the Caucus talking about investing in agriculture. I mean, 26 years. Is that when they're just realizing that agriculture is crucial? I mean, this is basic economics. Basic end of economics tells you that Uganda's economy is fundamentally agricultural. And then they take 26 years to realize it's important. I think one of the things that NRM has failed to realize is the issue of planning. We move from one crisis to the other. And I think that's a thing they need to address. Thank you very much.
All right. Our final caller tonight. Spectrum, hello. Hello. Your name? Hello. Okay. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Spectrum, hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes. We can hardly hear you.
From Bukoto.
Can you speak out, please, my friend? Can you speak out louder?
Yes. I would like to challenge the people in the studio, saying that the movement is a political party. The movement is not a political party. It is some few people's projects in this country, and the Muwanguzis and the Bahatis are there as opportunists. Because a political party has members. They used to get the cards throughout people who are in the country. These are not members of the party. And what she's calling the revolution is not a revolution. This one was what we call an economical venture, according to how we see how they have enriched themselves. As I conclude, that says that the army is friendly to the people. This is an army that has existed since the beginning. Because we will see the evil that have done in the people of this country, like attacking the courts of law, killing people at Kasubi, killing people in elections, stuffing boxes, and when they treat people, when they feed people in Masiro, like Kasubi, and it's an American, as I conclude, on next last day, in 1907, a soldier from TCU killed the same people and even several others. Really, Mr. Bahati, what are you talking about?
All right, let's get back to the studios. Madam Muwanguzi, AM said you don't attend to the local, there's not enough meat and other things. What are you going to do about that?
Well, it was really maybe the problem of the budget at the beginning, but of late we have started actually serving people at these functions. And this year, as this year progresses, and we are celebrating 50 years of independence, there will be some occasions, and we shall actually have the mchomo. It will not stop in Kyankwanzi. No, it will not stop at Kyankwanzi. And at the same time, we shall invite all. We shall invite all, like we are inviting all in Kapchora, and I'm telling you, in Kapchora there will be mchomo.
Yes. Well said, Honorable Asuman Basalirwa. Your responses?
No, I think most of them were comments, but just one aspect. Jack was talking about the Constitution. In fact, when you look at the Bank of Uganda Act, I'm not very sure, but I think it's section 39, which talks about the relationship between the central bank and financial institutions. The central bank, by virtue of section 39, controls credit and interest rates. So when you are talking about the effect of interest rates, it's really within the mandate of the central bank to ensure that interest rates are kept at such levels that financial institutions are not affected, and by extension the ordinary people. Finally, on the issue of caucusing and the need to have a family, as my senior colleague has said, that is absolutely okay. But I think it's also important for us to understand the history of caucusing. Why do parties meet in caucuses? Why are there caucuses? You can caucus on a wide range of issues, but you cannot caucus to seek to defend a person who has committed crimes. Yes. That's beyond the purview of a caucus.
Yes.
And it runs counter to the functions of a caucus. Whereas caucusing is normal and positive, you cannot caucus on an element of criminality. If we are talking about discipline, that's okay. If you are talking about image building, that is okay. But you cannot say you want to caucus to defend somebody who is a criminal. And he has been talking about institutions. Very good. Let the institutions do their role. Let PAC do it. Let PAC do the investigation. Let police do the investigation. And it should never be the business of the NRM caucus, in the presence of the institutions that they themselves established. Okay? To begin talking about meeting and advising people whether to resign or not to resign. If it was not typically a criminal aspect, I would really agree with him. But this is an aspect of criminality. You are talking about huge sums of money being lost under very, very, very unfortunate circumstances. Let these guys carry their own cross as it were.
Honorable Bahati.
Thank you very much. Two people made comments, one on agriculture and the other one on UPDF. I want once again to inform Ugandans that UPDF is the most disciplined, most professional army on the continent of Africa. That's why we can manage to go to Somalia, where superpowers have feared, and make some different, make a difference in that country. So I think that's not the few things that have been committed by the members of the UPDF, like election violence and all those things, are really not sanctioned by the authority of the UPDF. They are sometimes manipulated by key people, long people in the UPDF, but it remains the most professional, disciplined army on the continent of Africa, and we are proud of it. Coming back to agriculture, it says after 26 years, is this the first time we are thinking about it? Of course, no. We have been thinking about agriculture. We are focusing on agriculture, increasing the budget, because 80% of our population depend on agriculture, and 67% of Ugandans live on subsistence. That's why we now in this retreat, we say let's promote export promotion, let us promote regional integration, so that we can have markets and we can have a stronger base for our economy.
So people can produce more.
Can produce more and sell more.
But you look now, they produce more, now the prices have crashed.
Yes, we are working, as you know, we raised this issue in Parliament, and we are working on having a subsidy for cotton growers.
You want to do the subsidies? Like on
31st of this month, there will be stakeholders meeting, find a common ground on how we can move move this sector
You're talking about
forward.
subsidies.
And actually on regional integration, we agreed that we need to support a regional defense force which can defend the continent. For example, if you had a strong army as Africa, I don't think the
Gaddafi
situation
would still be president.
Gaddafi would not have been handled the way he was
We
handled.
have to go on that Gaddafi now. Thank you very much indeed, dear guest. Maybe before we go, Madam Muwanguzi, talk to us about Kapchora. What are some of the things people can do? If I wanted to drive to Kapchora, where do I get the fuel? And I'm not even NRM. Where do I get the fuel? Which petrol station?
No, there isn't any particular petrol station where people are going to be given coupons. It is just patriotism. You put in fuel and come to Kapchora. Everybody is welcome to Kapchora. It's not only NRM supporters or members, but everybody is welcome to Kapchora, because we are all celebrating something that established a foundation for the development of this nation. All are welcome.
We have to go. Thank you very much, Madam Alice Muwanguzi, resident City Commissioner-Kampala. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you as well, Honorable David Bahati, Vice Chairman of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, declining to tell us who the successor to his party president is, and Mr. Asuman, President of the Justice Forum Party, also known as JEEMA. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond Chizito. Spectrum returns tomorrow. Up next is the news in English. Do stay tuned to Radio.
Fellow Ugandans,